let's talk some movies. So HBO made an announcement. Well, not an announcement because we already knew all this was happening, but HBO did a little promo video today or yesterday night. I don't know when it came out. And it showcased a few, if not all of the movies that are coming out on HBO Max at the same time that they go to theaters. Got a little bit of footage from Godzilla vs. Kong, Mortal Kombat, you name it for HBO, and it was all there. So I thought that was really cool. That 1 second from Godzilla vs. Kong looked amazing. I'm super excited about this movie, which, by the way, is now coming out March 26, 2021.
So 2 things about that release date. I think that has to coincide with the fact that Morbius got pushed
100%
to the fall. And then I'm also kind of curious, mid-March is what we were expecting Snyder Cut to come out. And I'm wondering if is Snyder Cut possibly coming earlier than we thought, maybe early March? Or do they want these 2 things head to head? I mean, look, it's good for HBO Max, but I thought it'd be good for, the Snyder Cut to get a couple of weeks in the limelight,
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is Godzilla vs. Kong is a 2.5-hour movie, whereas the Snyder Cut is a 4-week long process.
Yeah.
So I don't think a movie coming out at the same time as this show would really derail anything. If anything, it would keep people focused on HBO Max. So
true.
It would keep viewer numbers locked on to HBO Max, right? Because what am I going to do? I'm going to sit there, I'm going to watch the Snyder Cut. Right after I'm done, I'm going to switch right over to Godzilla vs. Kong and do another 2.5 hours on HBO Max. I think it could work out really well for them.
And we touched on this on Thursday. And I know we always talk about the Snyder Cut, but I hope they do give it like a primetime slot, whether it's Saturday night or a Friday. Don't just put it out at like Mandalorian, like midnight on Disney Plus. No, give it a proper time slot, 8 o'clock, make it prime time. It'd be easier for us to do the show. Could you imagine if they release it at midnight? We got to do the post show at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
But I hope
listen, it would have to be done like that.
Yeah.
It would have to be done though.
Yeah, because everyone else is going to be doing it. We want to,
Yeah. We also want to compete.
People who jumped on the bandwagon. We were the bandwagon.
Yeah. Charlie Cox. Oh, Charlie Cox wrapped filming on Spider-Man 3. This is coming from comicbook.com. This is exclusive to comicbook.com. No one else reported it. So take it with a grain of salt, guys. Not 100%. However, if they are telling the truth, or if they are thinking they're telling the truth, and it is true, Charlie Cox had wrapped up filming on Spider-Man 3. We do not know if he's going to be playing the Netflix Matt Murdock or something different entirely.
Yeah.
I would have to say it's because I
think they're going to have to.
Kevin Feige, and I was going to talk to you guys about this during TV, but Kevin Feige said that the Netflix characters are on the board.
Yeah. So let's clarify something. There are a lot of people who have been saying, I have noticed this. There is an audience for the Netflix show, and they're not necessarily, the movie fans aren't watching the Netflix shows. You have a lot of families who watch the movies. The Netflix shows, Drip kept saying on Thursday night, DC does dark. That's not Marvel. And I was like, Marvel has dark stuff. And Daredevil is
not true.
Daredevil is one of the characters. Let's be clear. When the Netflix shows were made, they were supposed to be part of the MCU. I don't know if you've seen the Daredevil show.
There's so many tie-ins.
Yeah.
The Battle of New York on the back of a police desk with the journalist.
Yeah.
The black journalist from the beginning of the show.
Yeah. And not only that,
I don't care what they say. I don't care what they say. It's connected.
Yeah. The whole reason the Kingpin is able to buy and by the way, I think Daredevil, if it is MCU, is the best written thing in the MCU because it doesn't have graphic sex or anything like that. It just has a little bit of violence, and the language is still pretty PG-13 in Daredevil. You don't have Daredevil cursing or using like that, bad language. But when Vincent D'Onofrio is a wonderful villain, And the whole reason he is making his move at the first season of Daredevil is because property rates are low because of what happened in the Avengers.
Yeah.
Like all this property in Manhattan is cheap as hell. He's buying it up. He's making his moves to take over.
Yeah, I don't even care what Kevin Feige said. Mm-hmm. In my mind, that's connected. Mm-hmm. Right? Just because they haven't met the Avengers doesn't mean anything. And
they sell, they're like, hey, they mentioned the Hulk, like in Luke Cage, they're selling like bootleg DNA footage of the Hulk in Sokovia, and Sokovia is in, I think it was Iron Fist. They have a flashback to Sokovia, not the events of Age of Ultron, but like there's a soldier who's in Sokovia. Yeah. The only thing that might disconnect it is that in Iron Man 3, we know that there was the president and Miguel Ferrer was the vice president. But in Luke Cage, they talk about Obama a lot because it's very topical to the show, about black people becoming stronger, and they talk about Obama. That's the only thing that slightly disconnects it.
Yeah.
But there wasn't President Obama in a Spider-Man comic book, so like whatever.
If you're reading, if you're trying to do that much work and detail on it, come on,
And I always said the best way to reintroduce these characters is use the snap. You can kind of slightly reboot the characters because all the Punisher, I don't want to reboot him. That guy is perfect.
John Bernthal
is perfect. Yeah. So this is what you do. You say you have these characters come back as a result of the snap. So where has Daredevil been this whole time? Where's Luke Cage been? Where's Jessica Jones? Why was Iron Fist? Oh, they got disappeared because of the snap. They've been gone
for 5 years.
Reintroduce these characters in a post-snap world.
Yeah. All of their stories could start as they came back.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, the show could do like a pre-credit show, like a title screen.
Yeah, and everyone disappears 5 years later, and 6 years later.
Do it. I mean, that's your out right there. That's your perfect.
What would be perfect to bring Daredevil back? He was snapped. He came back. And when he comes back, the Kingpin is not only out of jail, the Kingpin is now the Kingpin like he's in the comics. He has a big steel tower. It's like, dude, I was kind of like they did that in Superman Returns with Lex Luthor. Like Superman disappears and he comes back and Lex Luthor is powerful as he's ever been. Do something like that. And then you could reintroduce the Kingpin. Now he's
a different Kingpin, right? He's more advanced in his criminal ways. Daredevil's readjusting. Daredevil's adjusting to this new Thanos like tortured world. I think it'd be a good idea.
I think it'd be a great idea. And by the way, Daredevil and Spider-Man interact a lot because they're mostly in the Manhattan area. Hell's Kitchen is in smack dab in Manhattan, in the middle of Manhattan. And in the comics, Hell's Kitchen is much bigger. If you actually go to Hell's Kitchen, it's actually a very small part.
Yeah,
it's
I
know. But in the comics, it's like blocks and blocks. Fine, whatever. I don't care. They always run into each other, and they both have the same kind of moral code. They don't kill.
Yeah.
They both are pretty straightforward, and they work together a lot. And Matt Murdock, everyone's been saying who should be the new mentor for Spider-Man.
There you go.
It should be Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
Because they both are very similar characters in terms of their values.
Yeah.
And
and they're just a guy trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not Thor. They're not gods. They're just a guy trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Protect their keep their neighborhood safe.
Exactly.
And
it's kind of funny, juxtaposed out with the Justice League. You have all these big gods and characters who do these grand things, and then Batman, he's just trying to keep Gotham safe.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's kind of funny. Like he's more like Daredevil. He's about, I got to keep this one city out of a city all over the globe safe, and that's where his stories are. And arguably, his stories are the most interesting. Daredevil trying to protect Hell's Kitchen. Some of the best writing, whether it's Jeff Loeb or Brian Michael Bendis, just really, and the writers of the show are phenomenal. And I hope that Kevin kind of brings them in, because I know Kevin liked the Daredevil show, even though they weren't necessarily affiliated. That was Marvel Studios, that was Marvel Television, that was Netflix. He did like Charlie Cox's Daredevil. And my only fear is that they toned down the intensity of it to make it more family friendly. And I'm not talking about blood or violence or cursing or nudity. I don't care about that. But like if they do a Daredevil show, it has to have the tone of, let's say, The Dark Knight, like, gritty, urban chaos, people getting killed. I hope they don't turn it into a superhero movie, if you know what I
mean. There's that opening scene where he's at the docks.
Yeah.
And he's like, you don't see him yet, but he's back and forth on the top. You don't know where he is. Like, that gave me that Dark Knight feel. Like, where they couldn't see him, and he was back and forth. Oh, my God. From the moment Daredevil started to the moment it ended, I was all in. Yeah. All in on everything about it.
And in that scene, he's saving women who are about to be used as sex slaves. I don't want that type of storytelling to go away. I don't want these cartoonish villains like, hey, you jerk, I'm going to knock your teeth out. How they kind of had villains. These dudes are about to sell women into sex.
Yeah. Like Wonder Woman 84 villains?
Yeah.
Like the robbers in 84.
Yeah.
My God.
Exactly, yeah. And look, even like, I love Spiderman. I liked Far From Home. But, with the villains, they kind of have to tone them down, make them a little bit cartoonish.
Yeah, of course.
They can't make them feel scary. The villains, even aside from Kingpin, they're killing people. They're killing cops. They're killing whatever. I'm not saying you have to show that. But there's, one of the best scenes in The Dark Knight is right before the big truck sequence chase. You see the truck honking, and the cop comes up. He's like, "Hey, pal, you wait," and the Joker just comes down and blows his head off. You never see it. Yeah, but you get it. He just went up there and shot the dude right in the head. Yeah. You could do intense PG-13 violence. Joker cutting the guy's mouth open. You actually never see it.
Yeah, I know. They flash away right in time.
I hope Disney doesn't back away.
What the Dark Knight did beautifully was they used music.
Yeah.
The right way. Because during that scene where he's about to cut the guy in the mouth, all of a sudden it gets, it's like a really intense moment.
And it cuts away to a guy going like this, like just a reaction shot, like, oh.
Yeah. So very well done. Very well done. That's what I always gave them credit for.
Yeah. I think, look, with the more serious characters, we know Mahershala Ali is going to be Blade. I like Wesley Snipes, but that's good casting. I know Wesley's a bit of a diva. When it comes to characters like Blade, Punisher, Daredevil, do something, a separate thing within the MCU. Those comics are sometimes called the Marvel Knights. Make like an R-rated brand where you can do the more intense storytelling. You don't have to like go full on, Game of Thrones with the content, but you can make it edgy. If you're going to be killing vampires, it has to be badass. It can't be toned down,
Yeah.
It can't be the Twilight vampires. It has to be vampires.
Yeah.
Bite people's necks and kill, and Blade's got to kill them.
Yep, I agree. So moving on. I have a couple things. Just let me get through them. They're not too huge. So there's a new Scream movie, and it's releasing 1/14/2022. So about a year from now, give or take a couple of days. And then Johnny Depp, possibly, he's at one time, he was the most marketable person in Hollywood, but due to some recent personal issues, no one, we don't know if he's going to have a future in film. However, Tim Burton may give him his chance with the Beetlejuice sequel. We don't know yet. This is not confirmed. This is just speculation. However, it does look like Tim Burton wouldn't mind using Johnny Depp for the sequel.
I've also heard rumors that Robert Downey Jr. wants Johnny Depp in the third Sherlock Holmes movie that they're working on.
Yeah, listen, I love the Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr., so...
They're fun. And look, this is not the first time this has happened to Johnny Depp. He did have a kind of dip in his career prior to the Caribbean. And prior to this incident with Amber Heard and all this nonsense, he had been kind of falling back a little bit. Like, people were not happy to see him turn up on Fantastic Beasts when he replaced Colin Farrell. He had been kind of like, kind of teetering. He lost the edge. They're doing Pirates of the Caribbean without him, which is like doing the Justice League without Superman. Yep. It's like, dude, that you can't do it without him, So I think they realized that maybe his edge has been lost. And look, he's had a good run for about 17 years going back to Pirates of the Caribbean. But I think he'll bounce back. I think he'll recover. I think he is at his best when he plays more dramatic. I know everyone knows his colorful characters, but like I felt like he was in every Tim Burton movie playing the same character. I liked it when he played Frank White. Did you see that? Or when he played Whitey Bulger. Did you see that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I think he does more stuff like that.
I'd be
way worse people in Hollywood who have done worse things, and his stuff is not even that bad. I mean,
I agree.
Relatively speaking to other people out there.
I actually agree with you. So I don't think what Johnny did warranted him being outed from. And there's no evidence. There's no clear indicator that any of this is, it's all he said, she said kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't think he should be removed from movies in general.
Yeah. I mean, it's silly. Does he have the box office stardom that he had 10 years ago? No. But he's still an incredibly capable actor.
Yeah, very much.
And he should be blacklisted. I think that's a little bit ridiculous.
Right. But so that's it for talking movies.